Hi everyone, my name is Kendrick and welcome to ENFP Female. Today I get to interview Samantha. So Samantha, welcome.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. It's a pleasure. So Samantha, can you give us your full type that you got officially typed with?
Yeah, okay, so I'm an INTJ. First is feminine NI, masculine TE, feminine FI, and demon masculine SE.
And what about your
And
animal
I'm a double,
type?
yeah, I'm a double masculine.
And what about the animals?
Oh, right, sorry. And then it's blast, play, consume, sleep.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
So you are the most extroverted of all INTJs. Like you are like at the very like end, like the very very extreme, which is super cool. I don't think we've seen many super extroverted INTJs. So this is like a first. So how did you feel and what did you think when you got your results back?
Okay, I honestly like I think the one that I the TE made a lot of sense. Like I'm someone that like needs to understand everything. Like I ask a lot of questions. Like I started a new job, like a bunch of questions. The demon sensory, absolutely. Like I've always been very bad. Like they call me like in Spanish distraída, like very distracted because I mess up a lot of stuff. And my mom's like, oh, it's just you're not paying attention. So that those two definitely made sense. The FI, the feminine FI, I was like I don't know when I guess when I started watching a little bit more of Lijo and like more of like OP's videos, I started understanding a lot about how my identity was something that was gonna be like my journey to uncover and understand. So that was really cool. And honestly the NI, like I see it sounds so like I don't know, egotistical to say, but like I do see a lot of like patterns and sometimes I honestly hadn't realized how much I do it. But like kind of being trying to be a little bit more aware of what these patterns are and how like incorrect they might be sometimes and like getting outside of that IJ box
Right.
has been kind of like what I've been trying to work on. But I think that the double masculine part was the one that kind of got to me. Like I've always been like the tomboy-ish and when I got that I was a double masculine, I was like, what does this mean about me? Like, am I like some kind of manly girl? And I was just so worried, right? I was just so worried. But no, it's definitely not that. I'm not encompassed to one single like thing. You know, I get to create my identity, which is what I'm understanding. So yeah, that's kind of what I thought.
Awesome. Uh, so let's start with the sexual modalities first, since you talked about being concerned if you're gonna be like a manly girl or whatever.
Yeah.
They said what happens with the double masculines is that even though outside they come across as very pushy, shabby, strong, inside they're
hmm
actually the opposite. They're extremely feminine and whatnot. So do you feel that way? Like inside, do you feel super feminine? And
I do, and well, that's the thing. Like when I was in elementary school, like my all the girls, like I have an older brother that I love and I look up to a lot, and I would dress up like my brother, right? I would want to be like when we were playing in the playground, like girls would always ask me to be the dad when we were playing like house, like they'd always ask me to be the dad, and I would be like, what the heck? I mean, I guess. But when I'm like in relationships, like in my family, like I'm the only girl, in relationships in the past, like I like to be coddled. I like to be courted. Yes, like absolutely. That which is why those like two things, like my femininity and then being a double masculine, I was like, are these things gonna clash? Like I don't know. I guess this whole time, I've been trying to understand a little bit more of my femininity, which I identify with. I guess the part that I was wanting to be more objective about was I feel this way inside, but am I actually showing it to the world? Like outside, am I actually being feminine, or is that just in my head? Yeah.
I've spoken to some people before who has that masculine, you know, uh, extrovert decider and
hmm
feminine tribe. And I think one of the common theme I hear, especially from women, is they'll say something like, "Yeah, at work, I want to be like the boss bitch. I want to be like in charge and whatnot. But
Yeah.
like when it comes to relationship, I want the guy to be in charge, and I want just like
Yeah.
just yeah, I want to be the girl essentially. Like And
100%.
do you resonate with that statement? You know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When I started my first job and like when I was coming in, I was like large and in charge for sure. Like I was wearing the heels, I was dressing the best. Like I was like during meetings, I would be like super prepared. Like yeah, absolutely. And I think to a point where I could see that I was kind of the way I was coming off was a little bit like aggressive.
Yeah.
and that was kind of making my teammates in my job a little bit uncomfortable. So I had to like wind that back a little bit. But yes, and in my relationships, absolutely. Like I really appreciate being protected. I appreciate like knowing that I'm with someone that knows kind of how to harness the chaos, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Right. And would you say you typically dated like EPs then, who are more chaotic?
Well, I think I've been attracted to people that are exactly, yeah, I think so. Like my both of my like the men in my life are very like very EP
Yeah.
as far as I've known. Like I'm still getting a little better about like typing, but as far as I know, they're very EP like. And when stuff has happened in the past, like when chaos is like chaos, something like challenging our lives like has happened, I look up to them so much because I'm like, I know I can look up to you to know what to do when I freeze up completely, you
Right.
know? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how, INTJs and ENFPs end up together. Like my girlfriend is an INTJ. I was so surprised when she got typed by David Chan. I was I was like
That's awesome.
I was like, what the hell? Like I didn't think she was an INTJ. She didn't act like one. I mean, not traditionally at
Yeah.
least. And no, she is. She's NP last, right? Blast last, like sleep consume, play blast,
Oh
INTJ.
wow.
And I knew she was NF because like the way she talked was super NF, but I didn't know that she
Mhm.
was. I felt like she was extroverted, but turns out, kind of like earlier at the start of the interview, I said that, like usually, like women when it comes to, um, especially those with masculine extrovert decider, like
Mhm.
in public you are like strong, but in the relationship you're more like soft and cuddly. But like
Mm.
my girlfriend is the opposite. Like in public, she is like a mute. She won't say anything. But the reason why I thought she was an extrovert was that because when she's with me, oh my gosh, she just like a machine gun. She's like talking nonstop, telling me all the stories, and
You're
it's
like,
just
ugh.
I don't
Yeah.
know. And I'm one of the most extrovert type like you are,
Mm.
and I'm actually introverted in the relationship, which is weird because like because at home I'm really introverted. Or like when you put me in public, I'm like you. I'm like blah 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 blah. You know,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. And then like I go home, I'm like and my girlfriend's the one's like blah 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 blah. Like so
Does that ever get hard for you? Like, is there ever a time where you have to be like just yourself? Like, do you have to stay away from like the social and the relationship to kind of take care of yourself? Is that something you have to do?
yeah, it's super hard for sure. Like I always have to talk to my girlfriend. I'm like, hey, I need some space. I need like just time for myself.
Mhm.
It's not you, I just need time for myself.
Okay.
I know they say like everyone's an extrovert and an introvert, right? Like for both of us, we both have consume and sleep like at the bottom. So we'll go into like a massive extroverted
Oh.
like spree, and then afterwards when those energy has been expended, then we need to like retreat, right, and hide in a cave. So for me, my go-to is I love playing video games. I like to read books. I like
Mhm.
fantasy novels or just like for books. I'm gonna be a little bit different from you, I guess, because you're like NI and I'm NE. So for
Mhm.
me, I like to have like a wide variety of like topics. Well, for you, it's like narrowed
Yeah.
down, right? Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and then one of the weird things I like doing is I like to drive with no music on. It's just
Oh, why? That's so boring.
yeah, it's a way to process my emotions. But
Oh.
yeah, but so yeah, I'm talking to you right now, and actually you remind me of my sister's friend for some reason. My
Oh,
sister
really?
has
Why is that?
my sister has a friend that is that well she typed herself as an INTJ, and I agree actually because she's scared
Mhm.
of chaos. And like you guys look the same and you guys talk the same, except she's Asian. But like like
Association.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
That's
But
interesting.
and then you guys have the same voice, and she's pretty like aggressive too. But like she's really like also feminine when she just with people that she knows, that
Yeah.
she's close to. So I'm like, oh, like I'm like, where do you seem familiar? Like I feel like
Oh my goodness. I
so I'm
love
like, oh,
that. I
okay,
need
yeah, you're my sister's friend. But anyways, um,
yeah.
back to you. Back to your parts again. Let's go over the parts. So let's start with the masculine extrovert thinking since we're already on the topic of masculine DE.
Yes.
Um,
Mhm.
how confident do you feel at like telling the tribe like what will work for them? Because it's masculine PE, right?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I work in a let me tell you about my job. So I work
Sure.
at a mental health clinic, right? So
Yes.
it's very like social work.
Mhm.
And so the people that come in are people that have been struggling with a lot like in their lives. And I honestly I go off. Like that's the thing. Like it's funny how we pick jobs where like we can like do our saviors like crazy, right? So yeah, like when I had like a client that was like really having a hard time studying, so I was like, this is what you need to do, da, 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 right? And he wasn't taking it, right? Like because there has to be, when you're doing motivation, there's a lot of SF that needs to happen. That's the key to motivation, right? Is the feeling part. So I feel very comfortable telling people what it is that I think could work. And yeah, even if it's in their personal life, I cringe a lot looking back when I've told people, hey, maybe you need to do this a little better, when I didn't know the full picture, right? I didn't
Right.
know the full like the background, but here I am talking out of my butt to these people about their own lives. So yeah, very comfortable, unfortunately. Yeah.
Your intuition is feminine, so do you tend to forget the concepts or patterns that you've gathered or already or have organized? Like you'll organize it and then it will kind of like float away. Like does that ever happen to you?
Okay, I've never thought about it that way. I mean, the NI is one that I just don't see, to be honest. Like yeah, I think that's why. I'll find patterns, but unless like I'm using them on day to day, it's not like they're in my head constantly. Are they there for you? Like, are you masculine NE or feminine NE?
I'm the same as you, feminine any. So I
Whoa, so are they there for you
oh my god,
constantly?
it's so annoying. Like a few days ago, I had like some really cool patterns and insight that like pop in my head. I'm like, I gotta get a paper because it's gonna disappear. I know in 10 minutes it's gonna go away. And so I have to put it in the sensory, otherwise it's gonna float away. And I hate it so much because sometimes like this, with intuition, you never know when it's gonna appear. It's like a flash, right? Like a insight.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
And like when it happens, I'm like, it happens in the most in the worst time too. Like let's say I'm like driving or whatever, and I can't get a piece of paper. I'm like, oh gee, and I'm like, sometimes I get home.
Yeah, for sure.
By the time I get home, it's gone. It floated away already. I'm like, oh, fuck.
I have So I spoke to Shan, and Shan like is someone that really taught me how to process stuff, like how to process. And so now I have like 4 journals. I do video journals. I do like a journal on Google. I do a voice journal in case like my computer's not around me. And sometimes I have like sticky notes that I do write stuff on. So that's kind of interesting you say that. And I'll just have these little moments where I'm like listening to something, and there's been like a theme throughout the week that I've been like processing, and then something will happen at work, and then I'll be consuming something, and then like it'll just clashes together, and I have to just like sit there and be like, wait, yeah. So I don't know. I thought that was just me.
A little bit off topic. You're wearing the INTJ black shirt.
Is that right?
Yeah, like,
I was gonna change actually.
you can't make this up. Like you guys are all wearing, like, if I look at all the INTJs I interviewed, you're all wearing black. Like
I was gonna change it because right now it looks so pale. Like my skin tone isn't. Yeah, it's a mess.
it's fine. It's fine. That's funny. So let's go over your blast then. Your blast is NT. That's your first animal. So how do you experience your blast essentially? Like how do you teach your known concepts to people?
Yeah. I've always been placed in positions where I get to talk about my experiences, talk about who I am and like how it is that I got to where I am. And I think a lot of times like I'm not planning this ahead. I don't think I am, at least. I'm not planning this ahead of time, but when I'm blasting, like that's when I'm like, whoa, Sam, like you just connected these 2 points together. Like, and it's like I'm learning about myself as I'm talking to you. You know what I
Oh,
mean? Like
yeah.
that's the thing. So yeah, well in high school, in high school I used to talk a lot about like being like a student and like being a first generation student, and I'd be talking to these like people that would give scholarships and like to college professors, and I didn't realize like the impact of some stuff until I was actually talking about it. um and yeah, I guess how I experienced my blast NT, like I find it to be very impactful. um I think people really hear me when I talk. At least I make it my responsibility for them to like really understand what it is that I'm talking about, if that makes sense. Yeah.
You have double masculine play. So when you play with a tribe, what's that like? Like when you engage or connect with a tribe, because it's double
Oh
masculine.
my, it's my full body. My full body's in it.
Yeah.
Like when I'm like, say that you're like someone that I work with, like one of my clients, like my full body is like, you have like all of my attention. Like I'm speaking to you like eye contact is there, like my hand motions, like my energy is with you. Like yeah, it feels almost like it feels like a performance. Like everything's there, you know, like the energy's there. And like yeah, I care a lot that people understand what I'm saying. Like like if I were a teacher, like I would make it my responsibility to make sure that you understand like the most basic of it to the most like complicated of it. Yeah.
I guess that's your info dominant kicking in. Like you're very obsessed with accuracy of information, like making sure that it's
Mhm.
understood. Like it's understood. Like no one, there's no second guessing. Like people get it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Um, and then because it's ST, do you like to gather facts from people too? Like when you're trying to get like some kind of fact, do you bug your friends or coworkers about it? It's like, oh,
Oh, heck
like
yeah. Yeah.
like how much is that? Or like what was the date? You know, when this happened? Like do you bug your coworkers or friends about that kind of stuff?
Oh, so not necessarily bugging about dates or like sensory stuff, but more like experience stuff. Does it matter? Because I definitely don't think I bug people for sensory stuff, more like experience. Would that be the same thing, you think?
I guess maybe you're trying to get them to report to you. That could be it. Because ST's reporter is a report, right? So you want your friends to report to you, kind of, which sounds kind of crazy. You report
Oh,
to me. I'm just kidding.
I
I'm just,
don't know. That's when, honestly, like, I mean, that's when I'd have to think about. I don't see myself doing that. Um, I mean,
Do you like slapstick humor?
what does that mean? Slapstick humor. What does that mean?
It's like, like it's kind of like Charlie Chaplin or like Mr. Bean. They're like doo, 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 they're like
Oh, yeah,
bumping
yeah,
into shit.
yeah.
You know?
I mean, doesn't everybody? Like, I remember like when I'm just trying to find like comedic relief, I look at like little kids like falling. I think it's
Yeah,
really funny when they fall and like hurt themselves. Yeah.
yeah. Like I'll give you an example. Like like there was a movie with Adam Sandler, and he was like someone's riding a skateboard, and he got his kid to throw a stick, and then the stick tripped the person over the skateboard. And then that's kind of stuff.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I like and like I said, like I'm very early for your viewers. Like I'm very early in the OP
yeah,
thing.
for
So
sure.
there's a lot of things that I'm like that I'll hear, like a lot of patterns that I'll hear, and I don't want to just like very like astrology, right? Like I don't want to just see something and like shape myself to be that. Like I really
Yeah,
want to like naturally see if that's really what's happening or if that's like maybe like a fake pattern that people have just kind of played on, you
right.
know?
No, no, that's
Hmm.
super important. Like we don't want any fake patterns. We don't want any like making shit up. Like just
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
just to like yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think that's been so good about our interview so far is that you clearly demonstrate info dominance, for an INTJ. Like you're like, nope, I refuse to make shit up. Like I refuse. I just refuse, which is good because a lot of INTJs do make shit up, right? Like I think one of the worst things
Especially blast consume last. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, like blast, sleep, consume, last, or sorry, blast, sleep, play, consume is like the typical INTJ stack, right? And then like like in the past, it's kind of cringy too sometimes. Like not shitting on INTJs, I love INTJs, but like there's a few of them that is like definitely like going too far with the consume last thing, where like they'll have a business and then they'll show statistics, but the statistics is completely made up. Like they just pulled it out of their ass because they'll just say like, I know people like this stuff, so I'll give it to them, but it's not real, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like that would probably make you cringe. You're like, oh, because like you're info dominant, right? Like,
Ty Lopez, I can't watch him. I like if I'm watching like a video about Ty Lopez or even watching like OP's like when they were typing Ty Lopez, I had to like pause the video and like cringe like for a little bit and then go back to it because I was like, this is me, this is my dad, like holy moly, like this is a lot of like yeah, I cringe because I've definitely seen myself do that in the past. I remember one time in a class like this girl was like talking about me and I made up this fact just to like shut her up. And she didn't, because I'm blast, right? I'm blast first, and then I'm play next. Like I was very like this is what it is. I made up the fact, but she went with it, and she shut up, you know. So I was like, wow. I remember from a very early age, I realized that like if you mix confidence and like blast first, and like anything, like with anything, like people will believe you. Like I worked at Best Buy for a while as well, and you didn't even have to know the information. You didn't have to know what the product did, as long as you like confidently said something about the product, people would buy it. I would make people buy stuff that they did not care for Or maybe honestly, I didn't even know which like two brands were the best out of the other one, but I'd be like, oh, actually, this one's been like highly reviewed by some of our customers. And that's kind of all people want to hear. They just want confidence. It's crazy. It sucks. It's
Oh my
terrible.
God, that is so crazy. I believe you 100%. Like you can convince anyone of anything as long as you say it with confidence. You know, like it's even if it's fake. Oh my God, it's so bad. Like
It, but that's like that's not even like a type thing. That's just like a human nature thing. Like you could get me or one of my coworkers that's like super freaking smart, but so like shy and doesn't want to talk.
right.
And I could outsell him. And I didn't know I didn't know half of what he knew. But it's just like people want, I don't know, they just want a good sale. They want a good performance. It's crazy.
Yeah. Jeez. Um, you have play as a savior, so like the good thing about that, the biggest benefit in my opinion, is that when you talk to people, you are fluid. You are not like, what's the word I'm looking for? You are not like there's no awkwardness. It's just smooth. It just feels nice. It's like when you talk to someone with a play savior, it feels smooth. Because when I talk to someone with play last, um, it's definitely a slower conversation, and not saying anything bad about them, but I just have it's just a slower conversation,
Mhm.
because for you with the play savior, it's like playing ping pong, right? Like I'll say something to you, and then you'll take what I say, add in your own piece to it, and then give it back to me.
Absolutely.
And
Yep.
then
Yep.
and the higher your play is in the animal stack, the quicker it is, the quicker the turnaround is, right? So I did
Hmm.
notice that when I interviewed, INTJs that are blast play, you guys definitely are like there is like a feeling of smoothness to the back and forth. It's not like there's no like there's no awkwardness that destroys the vibe essentially.
Right, and that's one thing that interests me because people say like, oh, INTJs like they need a robot like
Yeah,
people like they're like robots and like they need to understand people like or are people. But I've never felt that way before. Like I've never felt like people are something I have to like like Lego understand. Like people are. I don't know. Is that is that something due to my type or due to my stack? You think or?
yeah, I definitely feel like it's 100% because of your stack, like play blast.
Mm,
Especially double masculine play in your part. Like you are definitely going all in when it comes to people. Uh,
mm,
so and it's not like I have seen people with consume sleep play, for example, or sleep consume play that is fluid with people. But I think it's a little bit different too because they're fluid with people that they already know. So if
right.
they have to go outside the known people, then it's a challenge for them. But I think for you, blast play, you can talk to strangers and you're gonna be okay, like more or less. Like it's gonna be so
Yeah.
smooth. Like the fact that you tell me about your job in Best Buy and you can still sell people, right? Like, and the good thing with blast play as opposed to blast sleep, like the good thing about blast sleep is the information has been processed before
Yeah.
being taught to people. But the good thing
Hmm.
about blast play is you're more relatable to people. Because when you're just blasting
Hmm.
and there's no play involved, then yeah, you do come across as a robot. Like you're not human, right? Because humans connect to each other, and like you're blast playing, so you're like, I'm teaching you, but you know what? I'll share some of my experience too, and
Yeah.
and we can joke around a little bit in between to make it fun, make it human.
Mm.
So that's why I think if you're blast playing, you don't come across as a robot, and you'll probably get mistyped as like an ENTJ or something. Um,
Oh, yeah,
maybe that's just an assumption I'm making, but I don't know. So
yeah.
let's go with your third part. Your consume is SF. So how
Mhm.
do you experience your SF consume? Like how do you like to consume like popular things or fun things, cool things, like
Okay. No, I do not. I have not gone on TikTok. I don't, it's not that I refuse, I just haven't, right? And TikTok's super popular right now. I don't have social media. I get on Facebook every now and then. Like it's pretty, so yeah, that's I think when I think of demon consume SF, I think definitely think of that. Um, but like I'm on a journey right now to like understand myself to be more SF because I've realized that in the like I would love to help people and I think one of the best ways to like help people is to like tap into that SF that's so freaking magical. Um and so yeah, like I've been trying to watch like more YouTube videos about like about my people with my type. So And of course like OP, I watch them a lot too, but right now it's just more about like understanding the ego, understanding like how to be like compassionate, how to like double decide. Like there's these, I don't know if you watch them, they're called Ab and Preach. Like I love them. I binge watch them a lot because they're so good at double deciding about topics that are super hard for like society to understand. And they're not well known because they don't say things that people like, right? So I don't know. Yeah. My I've gone to parties where people like talk like or completely like consume SF, and I don't do well. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not great with the SF, I would say. Yeah.
Do you like to buy material things a lot? Like, do you like, are you a shopaholic?
I've been I've been trying to. So I bought this shirt 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And like I've been trying to, like I have money, right? And I can do it, but it's like when I buy stuff, I'd rather save. So I tell myself, Sam, give it like a day, and if you still want it, then go back. And usually I don't go back because I can make myself not want it, you know?
Right, right.
So no, I'm not big on buying stuff. Um I don't know about here. I'll say this, and you tell me what this kind of sounds like. So
Okay.
I love like cooking. Like I love like meal prepping,
Okay.
and I'm not likely to like buy like food that's already been made. Like I don't like going to fast food places. Um, just because I don't know. Like I think there's so many perks to it. Like you save money, and you like eat healthier, eat the portions that you want. Yeah, it's just I don't like buying pre-made food. Like I like making it myself. What do you think? Would would that be
That just sounds
would
like
that
an.
be
It just sounds like IJ behavior, but like,
Oh, really?
I
Dang it.
just
I thought I was tapping into that consumer stuff.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, it kind of is, but kind of not. It's like in the gray area because part of consume is doing things that you enjoy. Also, like Dave always talks about, like being consumed last. He has to give himself permission to go to his backyard and waste time. Like just do like fly his like RC airplanes in his backyard.
uh-huh.
Like he has to give himself permission to do that. That's why a lot of INTJs do get a lot of work done in their life is because they don't do fun things in their spare time. They're just working.
I know that is something that I had to process, Kendrick. Like I was like, when I got my type, I was like, Sam, you're a square, like you're boring. And I was like, I'm not boring. Like I do cool stuff. And then like I think about it, and no, I really don't. Like I'm actually pretty boring. So yeah, like the permission that I give myself is permission to like do my nails, or permission to like go to a party. Like it's like I'm my own parent. It's weird. I always thought like if my parents like left, like I'd be free and crazy, but I'm still like it's like my mom lives inside me. It's
Yeah,
weird. I don't know.
it's never been
Yeah.
your parents that kept you square. It's always been you.
Exactly. That was like the craziest thing to realize that I am boring. Like no, it was always me the whole time. Yeah. It's like that meme with like SpongeBob. Yeah. Yeah. Terrible.
Yeah, that is so interesting. Your extrovert sensing is masculine, so do you have a pretty good memory when it comes to time, date, just memory in general?
Oh yeah, like my family will be like, "Oh, that's that lady that came up on like Batman," and I'll be like, "No, mom, that's not her." And then we'll make bets, and I always beat them. Like, yeah, my memory is top notch for sure.
I think yours is even more deadly because it's like info dominant plus extrovert sensing masculine.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, when I was little, like my mom's like, "Oh, Sam, like you have the memory of an elephant," because I'd be in spelling bees, and like I could really like remember how to like spell stuff. So yeah, I always like I can back up my memory pretty well for sure.
Let's talk about your feminine FI. So
Mm-hmm.
how movable is your identity? Like, do you feel like your identity can get moved by other people? Like, what you should value gets moved? No.
Yeah. I wish it weren't the truth. Like, these experiments where they say like, oh, if I don't get why we judge Nazis so much because, well, you would have done the same thing, right? And I was always like, no, like I'm a kind person, that wouldn't have been me. But looking back, like even the last year, like it's very easy for me to get moved. Like if you tell me, Sam, like INTJs are like the worst, the scum of the earth, I'd take that home with me and be like, maybe that's the truth. I don't know.
Oh my god.
Like it's Yeah, like I definitely shouldn't. And I do have a lot of self-esteem issues. I don't know, everybody does, but mine are very big on identity. Like like yeah, I wish it were different, but that's what I'm working on, right? That's like my whole journey is to like understand without like I've always been who people wanted me to be, like always like it's hard for me to tell people no. And now that I'm like in like the counseling realm, people want to like tell me their things to me me how they feel, and that's very like it's very conducive to like compassion fatigue, right? And I honestly go home like really tired. Whoa, I forgot where I was going with this. What was your question?
Oh, I was, you answered my question. I was talking about
Okay.
what, like, if your identity is movable by the
Yeah.
tribe. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So you pretty much just said you have trouble with setting boundaries, which is
Yes.
directly correlated to having sleep loss, because I also struggled with setting boundaries. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I want to hear what kind of struggle you had with setting boundaries with people. You know.
Woo, we're getting deep. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so I have like a friend who's like really been struggling with like her divorce, and I'm also like someone that's connected to like a lot of resources thanks to my job. So she's been like, "Hey Sam, like talk to my ex-husband and tell him that I want this and this and that for the divorce." And I'm like, "Da-da-da-da-da. Hey, she said this and this and that." And then I go back to the other person, and I was going through like so much at my job. Like it was like my first couple of weeks, and I was like, why the hell are you doing this? Like this isn't your responsibility. Um, and I had to get permission from someone else to tell her, hey, I don't want this anymore. And even when I did it, like I still didn't do it in a way that she got, hey, you're kind of hurting me by doing this. I couldn't say it like that. I couldn't say what needed to be said when I needed to, right? So I just kind of like sugar coated it and said, hey, like, can I just not be in between both of you? Because I think it'd be a lot better if you did it yourself. Yeah, that's a big one of the big most recent ones about in regards to boundaries. And just like with friends, like I don't know, they really want stuff out of me. Like they want me to come to their events, come hang out. And sometimes I'm not feeling it, but I'm like, oh Sam, how are you gonna let them down? So you need to go. I just don't take care of myself basically. That's at sleep last. With my family, oh my gosh, that's a big one. Yeah, with my family, like I help out a lot, and sometimes at the cost of my own like mental health. So yeah, that's been a big one.
I think it was interesting. I was watching you talk about setting boundaries, and you have double feminine sleep, right? So it seems like you're headstrong up front, but when it comes to like setting the brakes, putting the brakes on, or setting the boundaries with the tribe, it doesn't come out strong at all. It's very soft. It's like he's like, oh, I really don't want to, it's not like no. It's like, oh, I don't really, it's like, oh, can I just not be between you guys? It's like very like soft, and which is very interesting, because people would assume that you would just like shut them up, right? Because it's like double masculine, but no, it's not. It's because it's double feminine. Sleep, your boundary setting is super soft. That's why I think you said that your friend didn't really get the message, because it's so soft. It wasn't impactful. So yeah, that's so interesting. So like, if they do get around your shield, then it's very hard for them. It's very hard for you to protect yourself from there, because
Yes.
it's like,
Yes. Oh
that.
my goodness. I love this. I was not prepared for this interview. I was like, I'm not gonna be able to answer your questions, but I'm learning so much as you're talking right now. So thank you so much for this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no, of course, happy to help. uh, I just noticed, because we're different. Like, I'm double masculine inside, right? Like, I have masculine FI and SI. So when I set boundaries, it's extremely offensive and like in your face. Because I'm usually like
Oh.
really, I'm double feminine place, right? So when with a tribe, I'm really flexible and whatnot. But during the pandemic, I've had to cut off some friends that
Wow.
I've known since I was a teenager, and it didn't feel good, but it was the right thing to do, because I felt like they were toxic. I should have done it a long time ago, but I didn't, because I'm like like kind of like sleep lost, not knowing how to set boundaries, helping people, for in exchange for suffering, with our mental health and whatnot. And it got to a boiling point where like those toxic emotions was just getting to me, where I'm like thinking about it all the time, and it's just like I can't hold it anymore. I need to let it go, and
Wow.
I literally went on a massive like sleep last cutting off, like sleep last double masculine, cutting people off and or blocking people, and
To me, to me that feels like, okay, and I have the perfect metaphor for it because I've thought about it so much. It feels like when someone's like when your computer's dying and you like press the or like it freezes up, so you like suffocate it. It feels like I'm suffocating someone like with a pillow, and they're like, no, but I want to be your friend, and I'm like, no, I just don't want this anymore. That's what it feels like. It's terrible. For me, at least, for me, it feels like I'm like suffocating them with a pillow. Terrible, terrible. That's awesome for you though. Really
So
cool.
is that how you feel then? You feel like suffocated
When I'm trying to cut people off,
yeah.
yes. Like I feel like I'm suffocating them with like a pillow while they're trying to be my friend.
Oh, that's interesting. Mine is different, but that is interesting that yours is like a pillow suffocation. Uh, that's how you feel it. No, for me, it's more like I feel poisoned. I feel like there's poison in my body, and I need to expel that poison. And the only way I can expel that poison is to cut that person off, because that person is like, it's like the IV stuck to my wrist, and they're like
Yeah.
feeding me with poison. I need to pull the IV, and I need to take them and throw
Yeah.
them out of the window, right? So, masculine SI, of
Wow.
course.
That's awesome. I've never met someone that could like give me a metaphor back.
Yeah.
That's also an OP, so this is really cool.
Yeah, yeah. So your sleep last is also NF. How do you have trouble with like finding meaning in your life?
I I latch on to something that I believe has meaning. So like there's a lot of things in my life that like I looking back I feel like have created meaning in my life. So like my little brother has like disabilities. So like being an advocate for parents that are that don't speak English, and like being an advocate for those parents and for the kids to get the resources they need, like that's always been something that I feel like that's what I'm here for. Another thing is being like an undocumented student, like I feel like I'm like an example like for the community to like or I have no I have like a responsibility to make sure that other people can do what I've done. So like go to college and not have like not take out loans and go to college with you know and get a degree. And then the other one I guess would be like making like sure that my community's mental health is taken care of. So right now like I think my biggest meaning is found in the connection between helping my community's mental health, like helping kids with their mental health, and like understanding OP, understanding like how how to touch like people in their own individual way, right? Without overwhelming myself with like yeah, I feel like I'd feel overwhelmed without OP because I think, well, people are too different. I just can't do everybody, so I'm just gonna stick to these kinds of people. But
Right.
like now, like I have a way to OI the
Yeah.
world, and
Yeah.
and um and it's been really really awesome to be like, oh, so this is what you need. Possibly I might have to like you might have to talk about some chaos, or oh, this is what you need. Maybe we need to talk about a little bit more info dominant information that you might find more helpful. Yeah. So I don't think I struggled too much with the meaning, but I'm also the fact that I'm not certain about it is what like makes me sad sometimes, there's nothing solid. Yeah.
Right. I was speaking to another INTJ a few days ago. He has NIFI, Carlos, and he looks like Dave actually, and he
Does he?
yeah, you should watch. You should look at the thumbnail I made for him. He loves it.
Ooh,
There's a cat on his face.
that's so funny. Hold on.
Yeah, you
Keep
look it
talking.
up.
I'm listening.
Like I was trying to look for a thumbnail, and I'm like, oh, there we go. This is the one. but no, because yeah, because in the middle of the interview, his cat started harassing him. Like
Oh yeah, I see him. He looks so much like Dave.
yeah,
Holy
yeah,
moly.
yeah. And then anyways, so he's NF first, so sleep first, INTJ, right? And he said something. He said something to me that I've heard another INTJ say to me before, or not just him, but like several INTJs actually. Um, and they usually have like sleep in a savior state from what I've seen, you know. So what they said is that they have a personal code that they adhere to at all times, like some kind of code, you know. It could also, like, I've seen other people, even non-INTJs have it, like, you know, but someone that has the same animal stack as you, you know, like ESFPs. So Jocko Willink, you know, his saying is like discipline equals freedom, right? So
Yeah, I love Jocko.
but for, you know, for Carlos, when I interviewed him, he said that it's living life according to him, to himself, not because of what society tells you how you should live your life, but to live his life according to himself, like his own true self, you know. So
Awesome.
so it seems like a lot of people, a lot of INTJs or those with similar stack, it could be an ISFP or an ENTJ, but it seems like that NF sleep at the end is a personal code that you adhere to no matter what, you know. Like, and it should be pretty obvious, like when people talk to you, that no matter what, you are adhering to this personal code. Like
Yeah.
I guess for Steve Jobs, it could be like innovation, you know, because he is super innovative, right? Like no one is, you know, he is the king of innovation, you know. So I think that's something maybe for you to think about, like what is your personal code? Because, you know,
Wow.
so I mean, I'm getting from the source themselves. Like these people, like for Jocko, it's sleep last, so he found it, you know, in the second half of his life, right? But like those people with savior NF sleep, like the INTJs, for example, it could be the ISFPs as well. Like they know it early on, like in their 20s or even 30s. Like they have a personal
Mhm.
code. They don't break it. They adhere to it no matter what. Uh, you know, it's super cool. I think like you never break
Your
your code.
code.
Yeah, your personal
But
code.
that gives me anxiety because what if my code's wrong? You know, like that's like what if my code needs to be adjusted for like unforeseeable changes? But I will say like that's why I love like the fact that OP is big on like changes over time. Like there's not I'm not supposed to conquer my demons like right in a year, right? Like I think I'll get these patterns. I'll do my best to like gather as much as I can and then develop this code that that is understanding of the differences, you know, understanding of like possible changes. Does that make sense?
I think it's hard for you to lock in the code because you're flexible with your identity, you know, feminine FI, right? So to just
Yeah.
solidify the code is gonna be like your life challenge, right? Um,
Yeah.
but Jocko is double feminine NF like you, so it also means you can do it because someone has already done it, you
Yes.
know,
I love that. I love
which is good news for you, like, you know. And I think if it comes from like a more feminine state, I feel like it's even more impactful because it's even harder to narrow down to that. Like it's so hard. It's gonna be so hard for you. Like the double feminine animal is gonna be so hard to like latch onto. I have double feminine play, right? I am so
Mhm.
movable in the tribe, like I'm so go with the flow. You know, people always tell me I'm so chill, right? Because like I'm like, well, it's not like I want to be chill. It's just that I just can't help it. I'm like, okay, I don't want to
Fair.
deal. I don't want to deal with like conflict. Let's go with it.
Let's go. Yeah.
Yeah, you know. So for you, it's like it's kind of like I don't want to like hold on to that identity, that code. You know, let's just make it flexible and, you know, make it a tool. Like whatever is needed for the time, I'll switch to that. And
Yeah.
it might be bad, it might be good. I don't know. I feel like for your mental health though, it might be bad. Um,
Ooh, tell me why.
well, if you're always changing yourself for other people or for the scenario, then that is kind of exhausting, in my opinion. Um, you know, like
Yeah.
especially for you, you're an IJ, right? So you're losing certainty, which is what you crave, right?
Yeah.
So you lose that certainty, and now you're like now what, right? Like you're certain about a lot of stuff in the outer world. Then you go inside, it's like uncertain. It's like chaos, right? It's like
Mm-hmm.
so. One of the things I always hear about like what IJs say is like they really control themselves. They don't care about controlling other people. It's all about self-control. It's kind of like Jocko too. Discipline equals freedom. So there's like an
Yeah.
obsession with self-discipline or self-control. And I'm just I'm not an INTJ. I don't have your function. But I do have FI, so I can partially relate. But
Yeah.
You know, I'm kind of just like feeding you what I've seen from your
Right. No, and no worries. I'll like as an info dominant, I'll do my best to see it in myself. But I think I love Jocko. That's so funny that you mentioned him, and I didn't realize we were so similar. Um, yeah, I love Jocko because like I've been trying to like get like a lot healthier and making myself go to the gym, making myself like look up videos on how to do it. It's freaking terrible. Oh my gosh, like I suck at it, right? But but that's where I kind of see like one of the things that has definitely made its way and is making its way into my like values would be like the accountability part. That's like that's probably one of the first ones that started like appearing. Um and you know what's okay, I hope I don't change the subject too much, but one of the things I've been noticing about how I serve my community, right? So like when I'm helping like these my clients, um they'll mention like they'll mention something and I'm like accountability, and they'll say and then another one person comes and I'm like accountability, and I'm like holy hell, Sam, like you need to change it up a little bit. Like that's where I think the magic of consuming comes in. Um like Maxwell. I think he's also like a blast first, consume last. But like what makes him so awesome was that he like gathered so much like that's what he said. I think the reason why he made his like message so purposeful is because he was constantly consuming information. And I think that's where my role lies as well, is to I think I can give quality when I'm consuming quality, instead of just like the same thing over and over again. You know what I mean? Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of John Maxwell personally.
I,
I, I've been to his actual seminar. Like I've seen him.
oh, you did? Wow. How was it?
He was very inauthentic, which I did not like. Like he's funny. Like his play is definitely very good. Like he was entertaining, but I didn't like the lack of authenticity in him. It felt like plastic. So
I
um
feel
but you know, I don't know, maybe that was like several years ago. So I don't know now. Maybe things have changed. You never
I
know.
I just like that thing about like, it makes sense that if you're gonna like preach, if you're gonna teach, like there has to be some consumed to be had.
Oh, no, of course.
That's my little nugget of truth that I got from him. Yeah.
Well, he's probably using his play to consume because you can consume with play, right? Like you can just get it from people. So
I mean, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Because like, I did notice that people would like consume last, but they have like play in a savior state. They're kind of still more or less okay because they're cool with picking off the tribe. So like the tribe will feed them all the stuff, and that's usually like good enough, for them. Uh, it might not be accurate because when it comes to people, you don't know what they're saying to you is true or not, right? Like
True. Right. Right.
you do have to consume to fact check. So they're not there's no fact checking. So they're taking it at face value what people say to them, which is not good. But you do have that. You have the consume, right? So you'll get it from people, and then you'll fact check later with the consume. So hopefully you do at least.
Hopefully, I know. I'm like, man, I need to make a note of doing that.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
But
Okay, I will say like I don't sometimes, like when I'm like you push me to a corner, I'll be like so and so said this, but it's always like seeking permission so that if they come back at me, I know I preface it by saying
you
my
blame
boss said this and this and that. Yeah.
blame them.
Haha. Big brain.
Um, so back to what we were talking about earlier about like that NF sleep last. I
Yeah.
noticed like for Jocko to make it solid, he writes it on a paper and he talks about it. On his videos, he's always talking about it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think you have to make it solid. You have to write it. I think because that's what seems like what he's doing.
I've
Because
heard that. Yeah.
yeah, because if it's just inside your head, you're like it's not gonna stick. So
Mhm.
now I feel like if I have to like set boundaries with the tribe, I have to like write on a paper and like
Oh my gosh, that's
and be
so
like
good.
and be like
That's
can you imagine? I'm
so
like
good.
I don't want to be your friend anymore.
I've done low key though, Kendrick. I've done that before. I've
Really?
done that before where I was like, because I can blast right. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. No, I've done that before with like my ex partner. Like he'd done something that bothered me, and so I like literally wrote it in my journal. I was like da 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 da, and like I read it to him, and and I don't know. I don't remember what his reaction was, but to me, I was like, you need to read these things that I wrote. It's like it's coming from the bottom of my heart. Like for me, it was like valuable, right? And when in the past when like if people like have told me like they have anxiety to like talk to someone that they really need to talk to, I'm like write a letter. Yeah, that's so interesting.
Oh, okay. There we go. There we go. There we go. I think you found a way to find your code. I mean, you didn't find it yet, but you know how to find it now. You know.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love it. Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's
Huh.
cool. Oh, that's cool. So for someone with double feminine sleep, your sleep processing has to come in journaling. Then it's there's no other way. It has to be journaling. There's no other way. It's
Wait, why do you say that? Why do you say that there's no other way?
well because it makes it solid. You know, like if you process it in your head, then it's not. It's gonna fly away later on, right?
Yeah.
I have double masculine sleep, so if I process in my head, it does stick, right? But
Oh,
I don't need to write anything down. I don't need to journal because I remember it. You know, I remember what I process. Um,
that's a good point. That's because I did a video journal like a couple months ago, and I listened to it like months later, and I
yeah.
was like, wow, like that's such a good point. Why am I just I re-realized that. I re-realized this like golden nugget of truth that I made months ago. And so when I watched the video again, I was like, wait, I knew that back then? And I was like, what the hell? That's such a good point. Yeah, I was like, what? That makes no sense.
You're like
Wow.
Samantha, you are so smart. That's what you're saying to your.
Yeah, I know. Okay, is that a good because I'm like, dang, Sam's spilling some truth.
Yeah.
But yeah, I cry about my own videos. Is that stupid? I'll watch myself and I'll like be like, wow, Sam, that was awesome. Yeah,
Yeah, I
terrible.
guess that's
Terrible.
another way you can do it. You can make a video of yourself. That's
No,
good.
no, what I'm saying is like I think I'm working twice as hard
Yeah.
if I'm not journaling it, like writing it like on paper.
Right.
Like if
Right.
it's on video, I think it doesn't stick like you said. Yeah.
Maybe because when you're on video, there's like some play and blast element to it, but like when you're writing on a paper, it's almost purely sleep, right? And it's
Yeah. Yeah.
like if you're not saying anything. I mean, you could blast in your head, but it literally like if you're writing, especially if you're talking about your feelings, you know, like
Yeah.
yeah, because
Um, have you watched like Harry Potter? You know when like Dumbledore's like taking out this like memory and putting it into like a memory chain?
oh yeah, yeah, right, right,
That's what I think of when I think of like journaling. Like like there's this like thing that's like chewing at me like for months. And it's not until like I write it down like on paper that it kind of like leaves my body. This is so dramatic, but it's the truth.
my God, I just realized like our whole conversation was analogies after analogies. After it was like it was like the most analogy abuse. Like
I didn't know you could abuse it.
well, we're abusing it for sure because we're both lead intuition, right? Yeah, yeah. So okay. So let's talk about your sexual modalities. You're double masculine. So how are you with sports, like or like working out? Do you feel like you learn really quickly how to like move, like move things, or control your body, or yeah, like talk about that.
Yeah. So growing up, I was never like I have like a crooked nose because people would always hit me in the face with balls.
Yeah,
Um, so I was never good at like this like the confrontational stuff. But I'm a good runner. Like I did marathons like when I started doing marathons when I was like in the fourth grade. Um, I mean I stopped during middle school and high school, but when I picked it back up, it was like my body knew what to do, you know. And I work out with one of my coworkers who's like a kickboxing instructor, and she's like, Sam, you pick it up so well. And I was like, oh, I do, thanks. Yeah, I've never been big on like fitness or sports to be honest, but my body like I feel like I was built like a mule. Like I can like definitely pull the weights. I can pick up, like I can run pretty well.
yeah,
And yeah, I would say I do pretty well in the physical, but it's just getting myself to like actually do it. That's the hard part. But I think my body can do it well. Yeah.
I see. You might have to outsource it. You might have to get like a personal trainer or something. You know, like
Uh, no, see, no, I refuse because I'm like, Sam, you can do this. You can like you know what I mean? I should be responsible to do it myself.
well,
So
even chance that it's okay to outsource it. Like like a lot of double
is
masculine. Yeah, because
it?
like I'll give you an example. Like I forgot they typed somebody. Is it Lily Singh or someone or someone else? I don't remember, but there was someone that would like. I think she was like an ESTP, info dominant, and she outsourced her sleep loss. She attends like meditation classes and stuff. So, uh, Dave said it's okay to cheat as long. The whole idea is you're doing it right. It doesn't matter how. It's like as long as you're doing it. So, if you need to like outsource that, like I know it's
Is
hard for
it
you to swallow it.
bad that that's where is it bad that I'm like, no, like I'm gonna do it? Is that terrible? Even if it takes me longer? Is that bad?
Well, I think it's the problem again with like you being double masculine and double feminine inside. It's like
Oh,
like
yeah,
you don't want to come across as weak, you know, okay, I need someone's
yeah.
help. Like I need someone's help, like, you know, but I feel like that's also another obstacle that you need to get over, you know, like it's okay to be weak, and it's okay to because being okay with being weak means you um respecting your NF inside, the double feminine NF. That's you respecting that part of yourself. You know, when you don't want to be weak, you're rejecting a part of yourself. You know, because you know, as humans, we're weak and strong at, you know, different things, right? So like people who are acting strong, they're definitely rejecting a part of themselves. It's not gonna go away. It's always gonna be there. Uh, you know, it's so it's just a matter of you, like, when are you gonna accept that side of you, the tender side? You know. So it's like,
Oof, that is good. That's
yeah,
really good.
yeah. So
Mm.
that's why I'm like, I'm cool with like I don't think that outsource, just to get you jump started. I think it's also good. You know, um, I'm trying to think now. I work in the fitness industry. I'm a personal trainer, so I'm trying to think if I've
Oh, you are?
yeah.
Oh, cool.
I'm trying to think if I ever had like a double masculine client. You know what? I have actually, and they have the same problem as you. Like they can't get themselves to the gym. They can't, like, they when they're there, their workout is fantastic. It's like
Right,
killer.
right, right.
But
Yes,
they're freaking
yes.
inconsistent, you know? It's like it's so ridiculous. Like I had a one client, I think he's an ENFJ, and you know, was he is like he's a monster. Like he rode his bicycle around the whole diameter of planet Earth. He started
Mm-hmm.
from Canada
That's
all the way
awesome.
down to Argentina, up Australia, across Asia, Europe. He
Oh,
literally
wow.
rode his bike around the Earth. Okay.
Oh shoot! I thought you meant like Planet Fitness or something. Holy hell, that's a lot.
No. No. It's not like he didn't hide in a box. It's not an IJ box. He literally did it outside in the real world. He rode his bicycle around the whole planet Earth, and he is like elite level, like, cyclist.
Wow.
And then he had to hire me as his personal trainer because now he's back. He can't get himself to work out by himself. You know, like it's you know, it's not interesting. Like, you have this guy who's like,
Mhm.
already done something elite level, and then he's now home. He's married, and now he's gaining weight and he can't get himself to work out. He can't even go outside for a run. He needs someone to. But he is older though, so he realizes it's a weakness that needs to be addressed. So he came to term with that tender side of himself, like he's like double masculine. He's like swearing nonstop, like screaming at people, shoving people. But then he'll tell you he's really sensitive. Like, he's really open about it. He's like, oh, I'm really sensitive. Like, I cry all the time. My feelings get hurt. I'm like, this guy's growth. This guy's like, I respect him so much. It's like, you see this tough guy that's telling everyone he's sensitive. He cries all the time. Like, that is someone that has accepted all parts of himself. You know,
Ah, that is so cool.
it's so beautiful when I see that. It's so beautiful. Like, I'm like, it's just like the greatest thing I've ever seen. You know, like, it's
Okay, I mean, I'm interested. I'm curious because like here you are valuing someone that is completely valuable, right? Like the
right.
fact that he can accept so much of himself. Like I'm curious, and especially because right now I'm like I'm dating, right? Well, like I'm in the dating pool, and I'm thinking, do men? And I'm glad you're a dude, and you can give me kind of a perspective on this.
Okay.
um, so double masculine women like you can value a man for being sensitive, but can you value a woman who's like socially her role is to be submissive? Can you value her for her masculinity?
Why not? Like,
I don't know, like
it's not about masculine, feminine, in my opinion. It's accepting who you are for all parts, like the masculine and the feminine. That's for me though. That's for me. Like, obviously, you know, in the real world, you are gonna get judged. You know, there are people who's not gonna accept that masculine side of you. That's just how it is.
mhm.
There is gonna be people that will judge you, right? But like Brene Brown,
And because they don't if because they don't accept it, like I feel like I can't accept it in myself either. To be honest, like the masculinity part is the one that I'm like, ooh. Go ahead though.
well, you know, all I'm saying is that there are people in your life that will not accept that, but there are also people in your life that will accept that. So, you know, obviously you want to be around the people that accepts that, that are open-minded about it. They're not like, finger wagging in your face, be like, nope, you are a lady, you must act like a lady, you must
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
must know how to you know walk with grace, and like whatever, that's
Yeah.
that's not you though, right? Like, but it doesn't mean you don't have a feminine side. It just means that you're both, you're okay with the masculine and the feminine side. There's nothing wrong with that, like I have friends who are clearly double masculine, but then they'll do like really girly photo shoots. They'll dress up like really pretty with a dress and everything, with like full makeup, and they're like, but then on the outside they're like, yeah, like, yeah, I was in a taxi and the taxi tried to scam me, so I tried to punch him in the face. Like, I'm like, yeah, like, so it's a girl. I have a friend. She's like that. She's just like super aggressive. She's like, she can definitely punch her head off, and she has threatened people to punch people's head off before. But then on the back end of things, like I said, she'll take like really girly photo shoots. Like, she'll like dress up like really like pretty and stuff, and like take photo shoots and put it up on social media. She's not afraid to do that. So she's accepted that both sides of her. And I think that's what's beautiful, is when you can say, yeah, I'm both masculine and I'm both feminine. That's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. Like,
Yeah.
so
Absolutely.
there's no self-rejection, which I think is like the biggest crime. Like, that for me, that would piss me off if like if I see someone rejecting a part of themselves. It's like, you just betrayed you. How can you accept that? Like, that is bullshit. Like, you're like,
Yeah.
like, I don't know. That's
Yeah.
just my opinion, but that's how I feel about.
Absolutely. No, no, no. I mean, I appreciate there being humans like you that think this way. Absolutely. Because growing up, like I was always the kid that people told, you'd be so pretty if you wore makeup, or you'd be so pretty if you like did this or that, or you should do this to your like to your face. And yeah, it's always been this like dichotomy. But no, I think you're right. I think the people that are worth having in your life are gonna accept you. And in me, of course, I should also accept myself for
Right. And
yeah.
there's nothing wrong with asking for permission to do something. Like, we like, we're both EJs essentially. Like, you're like an IJ EJ, I'm an EP EJ. So we can just, like, I don't know, short circuit the system. Like, hey, we want to do something selfish. Well, let's go talk to the person that we know is going to give us permission. Let's just get it over with.
Mm,
Like,
mm.
and if someone says no, well, I'll go ask someone else. Like, so, I'll just keep asking until I get the answer that I actually want, which is kind of stupid. It sounds so ridiculous, but
It does. It does.
this is,
Because the thing is like what happens when you're like being toxic and you're asking someone permission to be toxic, right? Like how do you know when you're asking the right permission? You know? Is that like that part where you have to be like kind of self-aware?
yeah, you do have to be self-aware, like, when that's happening.
Mhm.
But also, like I said, self-acceptance is the big one. Like, there's a book called the Six Pillars of Self-Esteem, which is one of the most important books I've ever read in my life. And it's like, it's cool because it's very straight to the point, where it's like, he just tells you, okay, this is what you need to do to boost up your self-esteem. And a lot of it, if you read about it, it's really, what I love about it is like, a lot of it is like non-perfection, just like
Mm,
1% better, and he'll tell you exactly what you need to do to do that 1% better. And I'm like, okay, this is straight to the point. um I actually thought it was kind of interesting too, because the author's ex-girlfriend is Ayn Rand. I don't know if you heard of Ayn Rand, but
yes, yes, yes.
she's,
I've read her book.
she's like one of the most famous INTJs, right? I do think she's an INTJ, actually. Like, the way she talks is, uh,
Really?
I don't think I don't know if she's NITE though. She feels more like NIFI, like very selfish. But
Oh,
so I
this
don't
is
know.
an old book.
It's an old book, but it's gold. It's like, don't listen to the audiobook. That's boring. Read the actual book.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, the book itself is more entertaining than the audiobook. The audiobook, I wanted to kill myself. Yeah.
Did you know that I like audiobooks? Did you know that?
I
Or
I know you're auditory too, right? So I had a feeling. Like,
yeah, 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 yeah.
just like,
I was wondering if that's why you said it. No, but yeah, I definitely like the physical. 1994. That's when it was published. Wow. Yeah, no, that's really cool. I'll definitely check it out. It definitely is the right dosage of medicine for me at this point in my journey. So thank you. For
yeah, you can
sure.
just skim through it too if you don't want to read the whole thing. Just like,
Stop. No, I read through it.
okay, okay.
I'm double masculine. I finish it.
Okay, good. All right. Okay,
Awesome.
so Samantha, I'm gonna wrap up the interview now. So one last question is, what do you think you need to do for yourself to go practice that NF sleep last? Like, what would your first step?
Like I think like being more consistent about journaling, because even though I do it, like I need to be better at like doing it maybe even daily. So like journaling, I think is what I got to to um to tap into that NF. Um and then like I don't know if this relates to it, but like also being okay with being okay with going to those people for permission or for like to lean on them for support. Like so maybe like that the fitness person. What do you call it? What
Personal
did you
trainer.
say you were again?
Personal trainer.
Personal trainer. Yeah, the personal trainer. Yeah. But yeah, more than anything, I think the journaling is probably something I'm gonna have to do more often.
Actually, I think you would think it's super fun too. Like it's enjoyable to work with a trainer because you can like sleep process that. Like usually the personal trainer is like it's really a therapist. Really, most of my clients they just vomit all their emotions to me. That's my real job, to be honest. I'm not really training them to get fit. They're,
Oh my goodness, that's so
it,
awesome.
it,
Huh.
it's really it's fun. Like I'm a personal trainer, but I still hire personal trainers. You know,
Mm.
I don't want to be close-minded. I don't want to be arrogant. Like I'm a personal trainer, I know everything. Like
Mm.
like I always want to learn something new from them. Like everyone has a different style. Everyone has something to some kind of knowledge that they're an expert in. So it's been good actually. I've had positive experience hiring personal trainers, and you can hire them. Like if you go to a community center, it's usually like cheaper and they're usually better than commercial gym ones. So don't go to the commercial gym ones because they're usually just they're in it for the money. The community center ones,
Mm.
they're actually there to help people because they're not on commission or anything. And it's also cheaper and they have better plans too. Where let's say you don't want to see them all the time. Maybe you want to see
Mm.
them like once a month or something just to keep you
Yeah.
on track. Then yeah, you have that option. Because when you go to commercial gyms, it's just like yeah, you have to go with them every week, which is okay if you need to jumpstart. I do think the jumpstart is very good. And if you're really undisciplined, then you need someone to train for 1 year just to build that habit. Like
I agree.
I've trained people for 1 year before, and when they finish with me, they now work out for the rest of their life, right? They got used to it.
Wow.
They got used to it. They just got used to going to the gym. So there's a lot of benefit to it. Like it doesn't hurt to ask for help. Like
Yeah.
don't feel weak to do it. Feel like you're learning. This is a consume thing. This is not this is not a double masculine thing. It's like a consume thing. You're here to consume. You're here to learn. You're here to set up those what do you call it, positive
Support.
habits,
Oh.
yeah, support,
Mhm.
yeah. So yeah, I think it's good. Like yeah, do it up and it doesn't hurt.
Okay, awesome. No, thank you for that. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna put that into practice. Whew, personal trainer. I wonder how much it is. I'm gonna go like look at the prices to see
Did you know
if it's
Dave
in
was
my
also a
budget.
personal trainer?
You said what?
Did you know Dave was a personal trainer?
I thought he was a manager of a gym, but I didn't know he was a personal trainer.
Yeah, he was a personal trainer for Gold's Gym, and then he got promoted to the gym manager later on, and
Oh, really? Because
yeah,
I remember seeing videos like way back when, and homeboy looked gray.
yeah. All right, Samantha, I gotta go get going because I have another interview coming up. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah, thank you
this,
so
this
much.
was so fun, and yeah, keep in touch. Take care.
Thank you so much, Kendrick. Bye.